Hey guys, I am so glad to be back. Hi Facebook, hi Instagram. I'm on both today. So you can check me out on either, and then I will post this to the blog. So even if you don't catch these lives, you know that if you're on my email list, you'll always get the link on the blog. So if you don't know me, I am Veronica Peretti, and I do this, what I call the Essential Astrocast Monday-ish. I try to do it every Monday. I always say 5-ish because sometimes it's a little late, like today. But I want to share basically what's going on in the heavens with you and help you figure out how to deal with that energy here on Earth, right? So the big days this week to mark in your calendar are Tuesday and Wednesday, because Tuesday we have the Sun and Mercury moving into Gemini. Mercury is going lightning fast. So what's really great about this is that we have a little bit of air in the sky again. And so air rules our ability to communicate. It rules our ability to speak, teach, write. It really rules the acumen of the mind. So Mercury loves to be in Gemini because it's one of its two home signs. Mercury lives in Gemini and lives in Virgo. And so in Gemini, Mercury is incredibly talkative. And I posted a meme on my Instagram stories I think 2 days ago, and I said, get your fingers ready because you're going to be texting a lot. You might be on social media a lot. You might just be out in the world talking and communicating a lot. This is really good because we had a lot of water and we had a lot of earth. And so you probably had a lot of feelings coming up over the past few months. And then you had a feeling of, okay, now it's time to get down to work. And maybe you felt a little stuck with all the earth energy. And now we have some air to lighten that up. We also do have a little bit of fire in the sky, not a ton, but you might have noticed that yesterday you probably felt a lot better because we had the moon in Sagittarius and we haven't had a lot of fire. So when the moon is in a fire sign, it just gives us that little extra oomph that we need. But this air is going to definitely feel good, especially for my fellow fire signs and air signs out there. We've had a lot of water and a lot of earth for a lot of weeks, months, really. So this is going to feel really, really, really good to have some air and have some ability to speak and have some ability to get your minds working fast again. Mercury is really at full speed post being retrograde back in March. And now we're really going to be able to feel that our minds are really operating on all 12 cylinders, if you will. Okay, so that's going to be Tuesday. Today, you may or may not know that we've got a long void moon. So right now we are in the void moon. So what is the void moon? The void moon is basically when you can imagine that the moon is in a part of the sky where it's just not talking to any of the other planets. I equate this to being on a backcountry road where you don't have cell service. It's just not in communication with any of the other planets, so it kind of goes off the grid, if you will. And that means that the moon is not really working, and so it sort of puts us all into a little bit of a sleepy zone. It doesn't mean that you can't do work. It doesn't mean that you can't get things done, but it's not a great time to initiate. It's not a great time to start something completely new that you've never done before. If you can give yourself a little bit of space in your schedule when the moon is void, of course, it is great to give yourself a little space in your schedule to sit back, meditate, exercise, do healing work, practice yoga, sleep, dream, journal, all that stuff. So whenever you know there's going to be a long moon, void, of course, moon, you know that those are kind of the kinds of things that you want to prioritize and maybe not overload your schedule. So we do have a few long void, of course, moons this week. So I want you to be aware of those. Thursday, we have a long void, of course, moon again. Saturday, which hopefully you're going to be taking off for the holiday weekend, and it won't matter one bit because you're just going to be sitting back and relaxing. And then Tuesday morning. So I anticipate that it's going to be a slow return to the work week on Tuesday morning after we have Memorial Day off here in the States. But we do have a really lovely holiday weekend coming up. We have beautiful aspects. It's going to be a Pisces ruled weekend, perfect for sitting back, relaxing, dreaming, enjoying, having a good time, being with close friends, all of that. So that's the good stuff. Now let's get to the challenging stuff. So Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be the really challenging times this week, and I don't think they're going to be terrible because we've got that Gemini influence coming in, and I almost feel like I'm already feeling it because I've just felt like my mind has gotten so much faster again, and things aren't taking as long as they have been since the Saturn retrograde began. Now we still have Saturn retrograde, we still have Pluto retrogrades, we still have that heavy Capricorn cluster that we've been talking about for months, and we're going to talk about it all year, and we're going to talk about it in the beginning of next year. That Capricorn cluster is really defining our year, and just to remind you, that's the South Node, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn. Right now, Saturn and Pluto are moving retrograde. They're moving backwards. So they are asking us to reflect and review on something that is part of our story that we are letting go of this year. Now, whenever there's a South Node going on, there's a North Node going on, and the North Node is in Cancer, the opposite sign. Cancer is the maternal, it's the mother, it's the nurturing, it's your family, it's where you feel like you belong. It's generally something that is yours, that you are, growing in the world, whether that's a family or a business or your garden at home or building a house or whatever it is, whatever you're growing in your life. So now, right now, there's a big emphasis on that South Node and dealing with the past, dealing with the karma that you brought in, dealing with the past story. What's really interesting this week is that not only do we have this Capricorn cluster, constantly just asking us to deal with that past story and process it, but we've also got Uranus at getting to 4 degrees Taurus. And that's actually where Uranus was last summer when we had the eclipses at 4 degrees. And that was active, that Taurus was in a T-square with the nodes. And not to get too astro jargony with you, but just think back to what was on the boards last summer. What stuff were you working on last summer, and how does it relate to the stories and the stuff that you're working on now? What's coming up now that harkens back to last summer? What was the story that was playing out? What were you learning? And how does that relate to this moment? Because there's some connection, especially because the nodes are involved here. So there is a long story, and this is only one chapter. And so if you've been feeling poked and prodded and a little bit, I don't want to say under assault, because that's like a really harsh way to put it, but if you do feel like everything's been coming at you, you've been being pushed, that's just what's going on in the heavens right now, because that Capricorn cluster is being pushed, and in our old story, our old programming is just being triggered, and that's just something that we've got to deal with, and it's showing up for a reason. It's showing up so that we can really get past whatever that wound is and heal that part of ourselves and move forward toward that Cancer North Node, what we want to build, what we want to grow, where we want to be, where we belong. So if you know your chart, your birth chart, and you know where Cancer lands, and you know where Capricorn lands, and you know what those houses mean, then you have a good idea of some clues on where this is playing out in your life. And if you're not sure and you want to know, you can always reach out to me and we can do a chart reading and figure out exactly where this energy is playing out for you. On the collective level, though, this is going to get lit up a lot this week because the moon is going to go into Capricorn. And every month, because the moon takes 30 days to go around the horoscope, when the moon goes into Capricorn every single month, it feels really heavy. Now, generally, Capricorn is not a exciting, jolly, life of the party sign. It just isn't. It's a hard work sign. It's a sign that is really interested in going step by step in a particular direction to achieve a certain goal. That is Capricorn to a T. Now, with that energy being our bedrock, being our foundation, being our umbrella theme of the year, you can imagine that this isn't necessarily like a happy-go-lucky year for a lot of us. It's a year of accomplishment. It's a year of getting stuff done. It's a year of letting go of the past so that you can move forward with a clean slate in 2020. All of that said, this week when the moon goes and touches Saturn and Pluto yet again, like it does every single month while we have this Capricorn cluster, But by the way, that's not an astrological word, it's just what I'm calling it. This month it's actually at the same level in the sky. It's called an occultation. And basically that means that it is almost like an eclipse. It's covering the light of Saturn and Pluto, the moon is. And it just ups the intensity of that particular meetup more than other months that we've had it. We've had it many months already, and we're going to continue to have it for several months. So this is a month where we're really, really tapping into that energy of that Capricorn cluster and that heaviness. Now it's only going to the moon moves fast. It moves 30 days around the horoscope. So you're only going to experience that feeling of heaviness on Tuesday and Wednesday. But I want you to really pay attention to the messages that are coming in on Tuesday and especially Wednesday, because that's when we will experience the moon coming in conjunction with Saturn and Pluto in the South Node. I want you to pay attention to the messages that are coming in for you and also the things that you're saying. Sometimes, especially with Mercury and Gemini, Mercury's not only in Gemini, but it's conjunct the sun, which is what we call a combust Mercury. It means the Mercury is on fire. It means that the mind moves fast, the mouth moves fast, and you can't necessarily control what goes in, what comes out. So, and if you couldn't tell, I have a combust Mercury in my chart. So I know very much how this feels when you feel like you can talk. So all that said, it's going to feel like there's some heaviness, but for the first time, we're able to maybe express it. For the first time, we're maybe able to process those feelings through writing them out in our journal. For the first time, we might be able to talk it out with someone, but also it can manifest in the first time you blurting it out to the person that you're not supposed to blurt it out to. So be really mindful of your words on Wednesday, and then also be mindful of what other people are telling you, because Gemini is not all about speaking. It's also about taking in information. If you know a Gemini, you know that they are incredibly curious people. They're incredibly smart. They're incredibly quick. They sometimes debate for the sake of debating because they do love talking, but they're incredibly smart and really fast-moving minds. So pay attention to what other people are telling you, because in their language, you might find the keys to whatever it is you're trying to figure out. Just be attuned to the information coming in as much as what's flowing out of your mind and your mouth. So that's the main theme of the week, or the main thing I wanted you to know about. The moon is going to go into Capricorn at 3:56 a.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. And then so we're going to have that energy going all Tuesday, that Capricorn heavy workhorse energy all Tuesday and Wednesday. But Wednesday is the meetup with Saturn and Pluto in the South Node. And then it's going to be void, of course, the moon Wednesday night all the way till Thursday afternoon, which I mentioned. So Thursday morning, early afternoon, if you can have a lighter schedule, that's probably going to be really benefit you. And then just remember that you got to pay attention to whatever's coming up, whatever's coming in. And because the moon is in Gemini, the sun and Mercury is in Gemini, I really recommend that you journal. I always recommend journaling because I think it's a really great way to process stuff, but things are going to come up for you and things are going to come out that are keys to whatever you're working on. So if you've never journaled, just sit down and start with I feel and let your pen flow and see what happens. Because sometimes that's actually the best way to process your feelings, especially with all this Gemini energy that we're going to be entering. Now, mind you, that's not until tomorrow. We're still in that Taurus energy right now. And it's been heavy in Taurus. Taurus is great. I love Taurus energy personally, because I like that safety and security of Taurus. But I also feel that with all the Capricorn, the Taurus, this 30 days in Taurus has been heavy. It's been intense. If you've had stuff coming up, you're not alone, because the Taurus planets have been trining all that Capricorn stuff. And it's just like a big, earthbound, dig your feet in and don't move kind of thing. It's a very stubborn energy. So I didn't even talk about the full moon today, but the full moon, we're coming off the heels of the full moon in Scorpio. And I think that illuminated a lot of these past patterns as well. Sign. And Scorpio is water, and Scorpio holds a lot of the karma and a lot of our past trauma that lives not only in our minds, but also in our bodies. And sometimes the trauma that we're not even aware that we still remember, like from childbirth, from being birthed into the world. So all of that said, I think that full moon in Scorpio really illuminated some of the patterns and the behaviors and the stories that this Capricorn cluster wants us to sift through this year. And so if you're feeling that and you're feeling that heaviness, open a notebook and write it out this week. And if that doesn't work, find an unbiased friend to talk it out with, because either way, the next 30 days are going to be ruled by communication, the mind, and words. So use them, and it's going to feel good to use them because we haven't really had air in the sky. So it's going to feel like a nice break, actually. I think that's all I got for you today. I'm excited for the weekend. Memorial Day weekend is going to be lovely. I think that Pisces energy is going to be so nice, and we have all great aspects. And it's going to be really, really a lovely weekend. So Tuesday, Wednesday, get your antenna up, and then come Thursday, kick back, relax. If you can take Thursday and Friday off along with Monday, then good for you. Do it. All right, if you are interested in getting a reading and you want to know where this Capricorn Cancer thing is playing out in your chart, it's also where the eclipses are going to be playing out come this summer. Eclipse season is always the busy season in astrology because all the things come up. So if you want to get in on my schedule as we move into eclipse season, when everyone has stuff crop up, this is a good time. So reach out to me. I have openings in June, July, and I would love to get you in there and help you sift through whatever the heavens want you to sift through with this Capricorn Cancer situation. All right, so I'll see you soon, and feel free to come on over to Instagram and see me on stories. I share a little astrology throughout the week there too. All right, lots of love and take care.